please, and use the microphone provided. Anton.
Hope you had a nice Christmas.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was good. Nice. Quiet, yeah.
Look, first off, can we just start with a team news injury update, I suppose, and more specifically about Christian Romero?
Yeah, not so great with Romero. Had a scan the other day, so he's got a hamstring strain, so we're looking at probably 5 weeks for him. Everyone else from the weekend, from the last game, it was a pretty demanding physically, in terms of the numbers we generated that day, both us and Everton. It was quite extraordinary. So fair to say the boys were a bit fatigued, but I had a couple of easier days, so everyone else should be okay.
How disappointing is it to lose Christian for that long? And I suppose you've talked about January and the need for a centre-back. Does that accelerate plans?
No, it doesn't change anything. It's just, like I said, disappointing to lose him for sure. We obviously missed him with the suspension, and now, we just got him back and kind of steady things up. But obviously, with him missing again for quite a chunk of time, but it doesn't change really. You can't accelerate time, mate. It's still December. January 1st stays January the 1st, irrespective of our situation. So the plans and the planning are still in sort of the same shape.
Finally for me, obviously we know you're going to lose Heung-min Son for a lot of January, if not all of January. I was wondering if you've got an actual sort of date about when he's going to go over South Korea, because obviously you've got the game on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, it won't affect New Year's Eve game. We're just sort of in dialogue now, I think, with the three lads. I think Basuma will probably leave a bit early. Obviously, he's suspended, and then Pape and Sonny. It'll be sometime in early January, but we haven't got official confirmation yet.
Jake.
Hi, Ange. I just wanted to ask you about Richarlison. Obviously, he's hit form in the last 2 or 3 matches. Last time I was here, you said that you expected him to see an upturn because he was a bit freer mentally and obviously physically. Is that what you put it down to then? He's managed to free himself up, and we're now seeing the results of that on the pitch.
Yeah, like I said, I think I've said a few times. I mean, they're human beings, and when you don't feel 100% in yourself, whether that's physically or mentally, it's going to affect performance. And not that everything's rosy in his life now. I'm sure he's still got issues in there, but in terms of especially the physical side of it, he's the kind of the operation recovery he had from it. He came back to training. Just you could tell he just felt a lot better about himself in terms of the way he was moving, the way he was training, and he was a lot freer in his movements. And I think that's allowed him to go into games now with more confidence, more self-belief about his body more than anything else. And sometimes that's all it takes. There's no doubt he's a talented player. He's scored plenty of goals in the Premier League. He's playing for his country. So, but at the same time, like I said, they're human beings, and sometimes when things aren't right, it affects performance and it affects their output.
Just a couple on Brighton then. They get a lot of praise for the way that they played. They certainly did when the new manager came in. Some people say that it's very difficult to play against them. Is that something that you agree with? And also, if so, why? What is it about them that makes them difficult to play against?
Yeah, no, their football's fantastic, and I think they probably do things a little bit differently to everyone else. I think, look, they're a very well-run club. They have been for quite a while. You could see, even under Graham, that they were making progress as a football club, and then Roberto's obviously come in, and he's always done sort of things fairly unique in his whole career, and he's brought that to the Premier League, and you got to respect that, because as we know, this is probably the toughest league competition in the world, and it can be easy to shy away from doing anything that's too different. But he's that's I don't know the man. I've never met him, but you can tell that he's pretty determined to do things his own way, and they do provide a different challenge from a lot of other clubs in the way they play, the way they keep the ball, the way they build up, the way they press. And it's great because that's what you kind of want to be in these competitions, to get challenged in those kinds of ways. And there's a lot to admire about the way both the football club and Roberto and his players have gone about it.
Do you think they're as unpredictable to play against as people say they are?
it depends on sort of what you view as kind of, you know, predictable or unpredictable. Ultimately, I've always said that every game is its own unique piece of living, breathing thing, you know. No one can tell me how a game of football is going to go. I don't know if you watched last night, but at half-time, you probably would have read it in a different story to what you wrote. That's the beauty of football, you know. And as much as we, as managers, try and control the whole thing, the reality of it is every football game is a life of itself. And what you've got to do is just try and prepare your team to deal with, you know, whatever may happen in the course of the 9,500 minutes that transpire.
Thank you.
Ali, please.
Hi there, Ange. Obviously, it's been well known that you need another centre-back in this January window for quite a while, obviously probably towards the end of the summer window. Maybe the perception from the outside was perhaps it would be another left-sided centre-back, because obviously you only had Mickey van der Ven at that point. Obviously, Ben Davies has come in, done a good job in a kind of a makeshift role. Has the kind of idea shifted maybe towards being, as in over the course of time, to being maybe a right-sided centre-back you need, especially with the Romero news now, or is it just someone that can play either?
I don't sort of put as much stock into the whole left-sided, right-sided centre-back kind of scenario. We just need another, you know, we need another player in that position that can provide, you know, some more sort of depth for us and and the ability to change things up. And won't really matter whether it's left side or right side. It's more about the characteristics, the profile characteristics. I mean, we didn't go looking for a left-sided centre-back at the start of the year. It just happened that Mickey was the perfect centre-back, you know, and even if we had another left-sided one, I still would have signed him. So, like I said, it's about looking at the right profile, the right characteristics we kind of need for that position at this point in time, and seeing what's available and you know, going from there.
Just something towards the end of the Everton game, I noticed that Guillermo Vicario started to take quite long kicks from goal, and some of the goal kicks as well go quite long. Kind of feels like the antithesis of everything we've seen from you in the past. You like that kind of build up from the back, the quick. Is that something that he was just naturally doing, or was it something you wanted because of the way the game was shaping at the end?
No, I mean, he took a couple of longer kicks, but, you know, we're trying to win a game of football, and, you know, like I just said a second ago, we like to try and control everything in a game, but ultimately it's the players who have that control, and, you know, they'll always do what they feel is right. It's not the first time we've done it this year. Won't be the last time. It's all about game state. It's all about sort of what the players are feeling in that moment, what the information they have out there. Like I said, for me, you know, I try and prepare the players in the best way possible for every challenge ahead, but, you know, there's always a uniqueness in whatever challenge they face out there, and all the tools we give them prior to the game, they're there for them to use, and that's one of them.
Last one from me. Dane Scarlett's come back, obviously, from Ipswich. Presumably that's more cover with Sonny going away. If you, let's say you were to sign another attacker in January, would there be any scenario where Alejo Valise maybe would head out on loan just for some games?
Oh, mate, there's a lot of moving parts you're just talking about there, mate. Look, it's good to get Dane back. Obviously, the loan move didn't kind of work out for him at Ipswich, which is disappointing for him, disappointing for us, because the reason we sent him out on loan is to get some game time with him and develop him. It hasn't worked out that way, so it made sense to bring him back. He's back training with us, and you know, becomes available from January the 1st. And again, then it's up to him to, you know, he'll stay with us till the end of the year, and hopefully, you know, see how he trains and what opportunities may or may not come along, and you know, we'll sort of address those situations then.
Okay.
And we'll finish this section with George at the back, please.
Hi, Ange. With that Romero news, what's the kind of latest with Mickey van der Ven and his return? That I think he was at the darts a couple of weeks ago and said he might be back in 2 weeks to some fans. So I don't know how accurate
was
that
he?
is. He was at Ali Pali for the World Darts.
The darts, okay, all right. Jeez, I think I've said before, I wouldn't be taking players' sort of views on kind of their recovery process. Look, he's getting closer. You know, we'll see him sometime in January. I don't think Burnley, but, you know, Man United on the 14th, I think potentially. But again, I don't look at comeback dates until I see him training with us, and he hasn't been part of the group. He's not due to be part of the group this week. We'll see how he's going by the end of the week. So once they start training with the group, then we can start thinking about when they'll be available. He's at the tail end of it for sure. So like I said, at some point, middle of January, definitely we'd think he'd be available. But again, how we use him then is going to be, after such a long absence, it's going to be depending on sort of where we feel he's at.
And obviously losing Romero's a big blow. Have you got the kind of added headache of whoever comes in, whether it's Eric, Ash, someone else? You've got to be mindful of they've not played a lot of games, and you don't want them to kind of break down straight away coming into the team. Well,
we've been in that sort of state for quite a while now. We've just had to throw people in. And ultimately, we can't, as much as you'd like to sort of bed guys in, but the reality is we obviously weren't in Europe, so we didn't have games to give games to these guys. So, and through a needs sort of basis, we've just had to throw them in. And to be fair, the majority have done super well for us. Guys like Emerson, like I said, Eric came in. Benny now I played a few games but hadn't played a lot myself. So Gil, I could go through quite a few that we're kind of throwing in fairly cold, and there's always that possibility that they could break down, but we've got no other choice.
And just funny for me, I don't know whether it was true or not, but around a year ago, before De Zerbi got appointed, there was speculation in England about you potentially being involved in the run-in for the Brighton job. I wondered how far that ran in terms of yourself, and was it maybe the first time that your name was actually linked to a Premier League club?
No one knew about me a year ago, mate. You know that. So, no, look, I didn't have discussions with Brighton at the time, and to be honest, last year during the year, there wasn't really the possibility I was going to leave Celtic mid-season. I just didn't think that was. I'd only been there a year and a half, and like even though there was nothing real, not nothing real, but people weren't really saying to me that there's clubs that want to talk to you. I kind of knew in my mind that if I was going to do anything, it would have to be after the second year. I wasn't going to leave mid-year, so never entertained it. But like I said, I got great admiration for the football club, because they obviously, I've said a few times, you kind of like the clubs that have a plan and stick to it, and they're certainly one of those clubs.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there and move on to the Embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Dave?
In terms of Son's departure date, are you saying that he's definitely not going to be available for that Burnley Cup tie?
No, I don't know, I said, yeah.
That's still not clear?
I'm not sure yet, no. Yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to ask you about Richarlison. I think you said to us the other day that number 9's his best position. You've obviously had him, you've tried him out wide. I've not imagined that, have I? Is that
No, he played out wide, yeah.
I think you said that number 9 is where you really see him. Can you just sort of explain a little bit?
Well, yeah, at the moment. I mean, like, we played him out wide on the left because, like I said, he was struggling with certain things at the start of the year in terms of his body, and it just made sense for us to play him in those wide areas. And, we had Sonny who could play, obviously, through the middle, and he was going well at the time. And now it suits us to have Richie through the middle and Sonny out on the left. But, with Sonny going, there's always opportunity to play Richie out there as well. I mean, that's where he played the majority of his sort of Everton Premier League career and scored a lot of goals out there. So there's always that possibility as well. So, again, I like players who kind of are multifunctional in that way. And if you look at sort of our front players, whether that's Sonny, Kulusevski, Johnson, Richie, they've all played just about every position up there. At the moment, I think us having Richie at 9 is working well for us, and we'll continue with that, but there's always a possibility it could change.
I also think with Richie that he seems like a guy who's kind of all or nothing. When things are not going great, he's really down in the dumps, but when he's fully fit, feeling free in his body and maybe his mind, he kind of goes really hard the other way, and he's quite a streaky player in a way.
I think it's a bit harsh. I don't think it's all or nothing. Nothing's a fairly low point. You can't get away with nothing in the Premier League. I mean, he still, even at the start of the season for us, he was working hard, and he was a big contributor to sort of our start of the season. But I think, like I said, mate, the human beings. I'm sure you have bad days at work, mate, and you've probably written some things that you're going, I wish I hadn't done that, but I was feeling crap on the day, and well, just some of it, not all of it. No, but it is, and footballers are no different. We can't expect them. But I think there is always, and that's a responsibility they have, is that when a footballer enters a field of play, the presumption from everyone on the outside is that, you know what, if you're ready to play, we expect you to play. And that's the reality of being a professional footballer. But the flip side of that is that we know that that's not always the case. And Richie's just in a good space at the moment. Like I said, and I think as much of it is physical as it is anything else. And, you know, obviously scoring goals and playing well helps, but, you know, when that side of you as a professional athlete, when you feel good about that side of your game, then it kind of filters through to everything else.
And you've spoken a couple of times about doing business early in January. I mean, with this Christian news, is there any prospect of getting someone, a centre-back in the first sort of 2 weeks of the month, do you think?
I don't know, because there's just so many moving parts. Yeah, look, obviously, if we can do business early, it's great for us. Not just because of obviously losing Romero, but I just think, yeah, there's a whole month there. Why waste it? You know, if you can bring them in early, even if there's no, you know, even if they don't play, you can bet them into training. You can bet them into our style of football, because it's not like we're going to sign somebody and they're going to, you know, hit the ground running. Maybe they could, but you know. So, whereas if you leave it to the end of sort of January, then potentially it's not till sort of mid to end of February where they get up to speed with things, and depending where they're coming from, sort of the league they're coming from. So there's a whole range of moving parts. Ideally, yes, I'd love to do something early in the window, but I guess even me saying that puts a challenge on us, because then other clubs know that we want to do something early. So you just, yeah, you got to play the game and see what happens. But you know, I'm hopeful that it'll be sort of, you know, much earlier than the end of the window when we do bring someone in.
And actually, Phillips, is he ready to play Premier League, start Premier League eligible?
He's training now, so he's ready, he's available, and you know, he's there, mate. So if opportunity comes, we'll give it to him.
And just in terms of these kind of ongoing injuries and suspensions, I mean, you must just feel like you can't catch a break every time someone comes back. You seem to
Yeah. And look, it is what it is. And I think I said that before, you know, when somebody was saying, you know, all these players come back, and I was saying it never works that way, or rarely does it work that way. And look, I'm not the only one, and you can see there are other clubs going through it as well. Yeah, we've been going through it for quite a while, to be fair, but I really like the attitude that sort of everyone's taken with it in terms of internally, coaches and players, and we've still been disappointed with our losses. We've still been disappointed if we're not playing our football. And I think that's the most important thing, because I'm sure there'll come a point where, you know, we will be much healthier in terms of our playing stocks. And, you know, but I kind of like the fact that, you know, we're winning games of football and playing decent football without some of those players. So I think even for them, it's good to see the team winning without them, you know, because it kind of hopefully motivates them to come back, but also makes them realise that, you know, it's something they want to be a part of. So, like I said, it is what it is. We've just got to get on with it. It's another challenge for us, you know, this week with 2 games in a short space of time, and, you know, smallish sort of squad available, but we'll tackle it like we've tackled everything else.
Just going back to Swan quickly, for that Burnley game, are you fighting to have him for that? Is that the discussion going on, or are you happy for him to go as early as possible?
It's not a fight. It's just, you know, it's a discussion. Again, there's all parties. Ultimately, we're at the sort of behest of the federation, and, you know, we'll just take our cues from there.
How do you view the tournament? I mean, from a lot of European fans may see it as an inconvenience in their season, you know, their team's players going in, but from your experience.
You know I want it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I rank it pretty highly. I think it's pretty important. Yeah. I think it's probably. Yeah, I know, but, you know, a lot of European fans see the Euros as fairly important. Well, it's the same for the Asian Cup or the African nations. So, no, it is, you know, it's obviously, you know, people can talk about the timing, but, you know, with the amount of, like I said during the week, the amount of football players are playing, you know, all tournaments, the timing, even in the off-season, you know, you worry about your players because they don't get a break. So it's part of the calendar, but no, I hope Sonny goes on and finishes runner-up to Australia again, mate. I'd be really happy about that.
And just finally, you spoke about the challenge that Brighton pose, and maybe Deserby being a bit different. A few managers this season have said their prep for Brighton, given them a migraine because of the way they play. How have you found assessing them and working out what they do?
No, I think I don't see it that way. I think every team's in the Premier League's got its challenges. They're different challenges for sure, and that's a bit you enjoy. I don't think there's an extra sort of layer of information you need. It's you certainly know how they're going to play. Sometimes it's harder when teams are less predictable and not less predictable, but change on a weekly basis. You think how they're going to tackle us, but with Brighton, there's going to be a real challenge for us there. And they want to dominate the ball. We want to dominate the ball. They're going to be aggressive on the press. We're going to be aggressive on the press. So it's I think it's one you look forward to rather than sort of have any trepidation about.
Just finally at the back, please.
Son spoke about Richarlison possibly being one of the best strikers in the Premier League when fully fit. Do you agree with that assessment?
When did he say that, mate?
After the last game against Liverpool.
Did he? Yeah, okay. What my players say at the darts or after games is just, mate, I just don't care. That's their assessment. You ask them. Like I said, Richie's going well and long may it continue.
And the fact you've recalled Ben Scarlett from Ipswich, play Son down the middle, Richarlison on fire at the moment, does it speak to the fact that you maybe don't need a striker in January, maybe you can link the likes of Dominic Solanke, players like that?
No, two separate issues. Dane, like I said, we brought him back because the loan wasn't working out, obviously. So he's a talented young player. We've got high hopes for him. We sent him out on loan like all our other players to play. For whatever reason, that didn't eventuate, so it made no sense. It's bringing him back into our training environment and give him a chance to maybe get an opportunity here.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you.